told you in the last episode that I was going to teach you how to set up your own lab. So the first thing I'm going to mention about my lab is how it's what we call modular technology. The point of modular technology was, instead of teaching every kid how to build a rocket, I've got one area where students learn about rockets. And 2 kids choose to learn that, while other kids are all choosing from the other modules: lasers, aerospace, digital photography. I've got 30 cool things that they can learn, and by buying just one set of the equipment for each cool thing, I can afford to have many more things. And I also have taken time to write most of my lessons, so I use very little consumables, because at a public school it's just hard to get an incredible budget. Speaking of budgets, my budget for printers is next to nothing, so I've had to be creative and use grants. You should check out your school district and see if you have a grant. We've got one called the West Ottawa Education Foundation, and they have helped me with 3 different printers, and they've just been a tremendous asset when it comes to adding cool equipment to my school. One of the printers that the WOEF helped me obtain was the Printrbot Simple Metal. This printer cost $699 back in the day, and it has been one of my favorites. That $699 was well spent, and the printer did a fantastic job until I made a poor choice and tried to clean a clog with a drill bit. That poor choice resulted in me buying the E3D Lite hot end that you see installed today. And it actually made the printer better than it was when I first started. Some people complain that the printer has a little bit too much wobble and bend, but I have found that it's quite effective, and right now I'm using it to print another one of my awesome tops. I'm also, for the first time ever, trying to splice filament, because I do not have the filament measured correctly, and this design will not be completed before it ends. So let's see how this works. One of the features that's nice about the Printrbot Simple Metal is it has a bed height sensor, so it auto levels itself. The A8 you have to level by adjusting screws. You have to do the same thing for all of my MakerBot machines except the Replicator Plus. Once you get used to leveling, it's not that bad by hand, but when you're just learning, it can be a little bit tricky. So you can see I had 10 centimeters or so of filament, and my top is only going to be about a centimeter high when I run out. And this is where I'm going to try to push the new filament in to the same hole so that it can continue printing, even though there's going to be a tiny gap. You can see I was not fast enough to do it while it's moving, but I will reprint this and see what it looks like with the clear filament. So while the printer is wrapping up printing, let me walk you through what I've got for you here. As I've told you, I am HL Mod Tech, and there is a YouTube channel with approximately 1,200 videos teaching anything you probably ever want to teach kids. I've got something that I used in my classroom, and you'll notice that there are several versions. That's because I'm always looking for better ways to create things. So you've got lessons that have been used and tweaked and adjusted. Feel free to join the discussion and let me know what you would like me to teach next. You notice this gentleman wanted to do games, and I actually create a game in Scratch, which is pretty epic. Playlists are awesome. You can see here's the Mod Tech Minute, which you're watching now. ABCs of Tinkercad is how you get started in Tinkercad. And there's so many, I can't list them all, but I do want to advertise that they're out there. I also have a blog, HL Mod Tech, blogspot.com, and I post the videos here and give you a little bit of a debrief of what you're going to learn while you're in them. You can also follow us on Instagram. The nice thing about Instagram is you will get posts by students This is all me because we're on break, but these are kids teaching you what they did in the classroom, which is pretty awesome. And then lastly, I've got the Can You Top This lesson, where I showed you in the training movie how to create an awesome top that you can print and then use. The first lesson I put up was in Tinkercad, and then I created one in SketchUp, and now I've taken the skills I used in SketchUp and created it here in Tinkercad as well, and I'll make a training movie about this soon to post on YouTube as well. Once you're done designing, you need to export your design as an STL so you can print it. I named this Top 7, and you can see I saved it there. I'm going to do it again just so you can see what I'm doing. I've got a folder called 3D Modeling where I put all my designs. And then when that design is exported as an STL, you're ready to bring it into your printing application. I use Kira, and I use the old version for my Printrbot. I also use the old version for my Delta Go printer, which I'll review at a later date. You load a file, and this you can see I loaded that Top 7, and then you can adjust your settings. I like to have mine set at 0.3, 0.8 for the thickness on each side. The bottom thickness also at 0.8. I chose a fill density of 10, print speed of 60, printing temperature at 210. Those are things that you adjust as you learn your filament. Every filament is a little bit different. And then I added a tiny bit of raft, which put a little bit of plastic underneath the top when it printed, and it made it a little wider so it was just a little more stable, because as this grows, of course, there's more chances for it to topple over as the filament gets printed. If you're thinking about using the top lesson in your classroom, it's nice because every student can make theirs different than each other. You can see here that this one only takes 15 minutes to print, which if you're printing for 30 kids, it's nice to have something that goes relatively quick. It is also only using about a meter of filament, which is quite frugal when you also factor in how much fun they're going to have with this. There are also so many options for you to collect data with this lesson. We have Chromebooks at our school, and we could easily make a Google Sheet where students went head to head and spun their tops, and whoever's spun the longest, that could be the winner. And then you can do all kinds of averages and cool things with Google Sheets. Google Forms would be another way to collect data. You could weigh the tops and see which ones had characteristics that made them more able to be consistently successful. Alright, so now you know how I wanted the lesson to happen. Here you can see what 15 minutes of printing gets you. You can see this is unsupported, so it is super frugal. Down at the bottom, that is what is called raft. And you can see there was a little bit of blue filament still left in the printer when I started. And in a minute, I'll be able to show you this top on the floor in its maiden spin. And there's your completed top. And of course, if you make a top, you gotta test it. Not too bad. I cut out the little corners, and that may have changed the balance just a little bit. My original top did spin a little better, but I do kind of like this design. So this is what I'm thinking, is students can explore what affects tops and how they can make designs that are more effective. Thank you for watching episode 3 of the Mod Tech Minute. Make sure you check back next Sunday to catch the next episode where I'll talk to you about our Delta Go printer.